For those of you who care about the future of CS2, you'll know that Valve isn't the most consistent source of information. Instead, the entire fanbase relies on a single dedicated fan. His name is Gabe Follower, he knows the future of CS2, and we asked him everything about it. Finally, after roughly 19 days, 32 if you don't count that single line of text we got last month, CS2 got its first ever content drop. But given that time in between and Valve's seeming reluctance to communicate with its audience, God knows when that next one will be. So once we're done chewing on this newest offering, it's back to refreshing everyone's favorite Twitter account, Gabe Follower. Maxim, aka Gabe Follower, is the now infamous Belarus-born content creator who's been responsible for diving deep into Valve's game codes to uncover potential changes coming to their different IPs. Now, if you're wondering why an entire fandom relies on basically a single dude looking into his proverbial crystal ball to get information on source games, well, it just goes to show how brain-broken this company has made us. Anyway, Gabe Follower has been putting in work for this community, and has been since 2013 on his Russian language channel, where he made content about Dota 2. But like the smart man he is, Maxim eventually left Dota behind once the community and game itself became too toxic to deal with. I'm sure plenty of you can relate to that. However, this didn't mean that Max was finished with content creation. He simply moved over to Counter-Strike, a game he fell in love with and began pouring his life and soul into discussing. Eventually, his Russian channel gained a pretty damn large following, going over the game's updates, diving deeper and deeper every time, until he eventually started, well, doing what I assumed was data mining. But when I spoke to Gabe Follower himself, he made it very clear that that's not actually what he does.
I think I should mention that, first of all, it's not a real data mining stuff that most of the professional would call data mining. Most of the time, I'm just comparing strings from older update to a new one, and that's it.
So yeah, no hacking or anything like that involved. He just takes two updates, a new one and an old one, and compares them to see what's changed, whether something's been added or removed. And to reiterate what he said, anyone can do this. But it sounds like a lot of tedious work, so I'm not surprised that he's the prime one who does it. But from 2015 to 2021, Max was still doing all of this under his Russian accounts. In fact, he didn't have any English channels at this point at all.
Most of the time, people who speak both languages, like Russian and English, they just took my stuff that I published, translated it, and published on their Twitter, Reddit, I know, YouTube channels. And I thought, why? I should try to take a piece of cake here, because I am the guy who finds it. I spend a lot of time doing that. Then I should try to expand my audience to the international one.
So once he decided he was done giving others free content to mooch, the Gabe Follower account we all know and love today was born. And it almost immediately took off with his investigations into lines of Source's code. But things really started to explode for him when the rumblings of a Counter-Strike in Source 2 really started to kick off. If everyone remembers, we all collectively lost our minds, getting any rumor and sniff we could of a potential sequel to CSGO. And Gabe Follower soon became the one to go to for this news, especially when he started posting his experiments of porting Go into the Source 2 engine. And again, when he and another creator, Aquarius, discovered mention of CS2 in a NVIDIA driver weeks before its official announcement. This all helped set up the Gabe Follower account as a legitimate authority on CS2 news, and Maxim continued looking into speculations about the new game. But once CS2 was finally teased and the beta came out, things changed. As we discussed earlier, Valve's level of communication isn't the best. CS2 has made that clear more than ever. So Maxim sort of took on the role of CS2's prophet, going deep into updates to find out what could lie in CS2's future. But Max has always stressed one thing since the very beginning. Anything he finds is speculation until Valve announces it. After all, things he's reported have already completely disappeared from the game's code, like those infamous taunts he posted about months ago.
I have a suspicion that they saw reaction online for that type of stuff that I found and other people found, and they decided to cancel or schedule it for the future, because the reaction on the internet was dramatic. It was horrible. Almost everyone hated that idea. We can't predict what will come in the future.
And this is pretty respectable. It's easy to clickbait and get people's attention, posting things coming to CS2 as fact, but Max chooses not to. All he does is uses his knowledge of developer behavior and shows us what they hide behind the patch notes. What we do with that information is up to us. All right, by now you might be wondering if what Max does is actually allowed and whether or not Valve is okay with it. And the answer is yes. While they don't have a verbal contract or anything like that, they do have a line of communication through Twitter DMs. And so long as Max respects their boundaries, they don't care.
There's a funny story about it, because at the time it was CSGO, but currently it's just Counter-Strike account. And the guy who's managing Counter-Strike account is just one guy. Followed me. The first question I asked him, does I bother you? Can I post this kind of stuff that I posted previously? And the answer was positive, like, do whatever you want with this information. If we ship that in a public update, you can talk about anything you want. I'm happy that I can continue working on this kind of stuff.
Once again, what Gabe Follower does isn't nefarious. All he does is take lines of code and compares them, which anyone can do if they took the time. Although, remember when I talked about that time that he ported Go to Source 2? Yeah, Valve wasn't exactly thrilled about that one. They didn't sue him or anything, but as he told me, they kindly asked him to stop with his experiment. Anyway, this doesn't mean that all the work he puts into research and speculation turns out to be false. In fact, much of the added content in this recent update was once discovered in code by Gabe Follower and others like him, including the kukri and the sticker positioning options. Now, as for what's to come, well, you can always check in back with him on his accounts, but we still got potential clothing options, a snow-covered cobblestone, and hopefully better anti-cheat. But remember what Gabe Follower says, this is all just speculation. Speculation I'm very happy to have. Maxim and the others like him are pretty much heroes to this starved community. And what he does isn't easy, it's hard work. And a few years ago, all the stress led to him getting diagnosed with epilepsy. And remember, he's not doing this to make millions of dollars. He's doing this because, just like us, he truly loves this game. And listen, if Gaben himself won't talk to us, why not his biggest follower instead?
So I just got two questions left. First one, you might not have an answer for this, but what is, in your opinion, is the most interesting thing you've seen that may or may not be coming to the game?
So still like pets concerning me, because I have no idea what they are, because it'll be like a keychain that you'll attach on your weapon. We have no idea. It's just it just messes with my mind right now.